And that's the Eagles right here on Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's doing great. Fear of choices. Oh my goodness. Choices in a lot of our lives freak us out for a few reasons. One, we're afraid we can't undo things. Sometimes that's true, but most of the time that's like when you say, hey, should I jump out of this airplane with or without a parachute? Without. Right? That's a bad choice. That's probably not going to get a chance to make another ever again, other than the double questioning that choice the entire way down. That being said, I think one of the biggest helpers in my life, in my manifesting, in my old spiritual evolution, whatever, was the day that I truly took ownership of my reality. When I finally had acknowledged it to the point, meaning law of attraction concepts, meaning what I'm thinking about, focused about is creating my reality. When I finally accepted that, I started to realize that sometimes things happen that are part of the path. There's a lot of examples I can give, but accepting reality was one of the bigger moments for me. And what does this kind of mean on a sort of, I'm going to try to explain it kind of level, right? Like give a couple examples maybe in life where what we're creating might contain snippets of suckage. And I asked right up front, if you're trying to create something, if there's something that really matters to you, it matters a lot. Maybe it's a lot of money. Maybe it's a specific boat. Maybe it's a girlfriend, specific person, whatever. If there's this thing that you wish to have, and in order to have that, something has to happen for a short period of time that you might not like, might not be the greatest. Maybe you got to get inoculated, right? Maybe you got to get a shot, right? And that always sucks. Or maybe there's some sort of surgery that ends up having to happen in your life for whatever reason, but it's because of this choice, right? You're going to play sports a certain way. Well, you're going to spend some time maybe under the knife and have to go through that experience, right? Like there's a trade-off, not a trade-off. There's an aspect to things possibly that because we are souls living on a journey, learning, evolving, growing. Like I said, I kind of accepted the responsibility of life. Like a lot of things can happen to us. There's no question about it. Now, was it because I was just thinking about it? Not necessarily. Was it just because it was totally me pushed out? No, not necessarily. Was it something that I needed to experience and then basically decide how I'm going to react or act in the presence of this experience? So maybe it's a horrible person being grumpy and angry. Do I freak out? Do I yell back at them? Do I start quoting things back at them? Or do I kind of acknowledge that, it's okay, it's someone having a bad day, no big deal, and kind of, brush it off, or even go so far as to turn the other cheek, as has been said before? A lot of us, maybe we're trying to manifest something like money, for example, right? Trying to create more wealth in our lives. So we think that just by thinking about more wealth, that the same job I currently have right now, that same everything is going to continue, like just evolve. And then like I'm just going to happen to be in places, and when I show up, there's just a stack of cash just sitting in the corner of the room waiting for me to show up in that room. Most likely that's not going to happen. Most likely. And I'm not trying to put limiting beliefs on you. You can choose to do that if that's what you're manifesting. I say go for it. It'll happen at some point in your life. You'll actually walk into a room, there'll be a pile of cash. I don't know when in your life that'll happen, but it will probably happen. But are we worried about the aspects of what we might need to do in order to help get this better job, this better income? Is our resume up to date? I don't really want to do that. That's a lot of work. Well, yeah, but it's going to help. The investment of an hour or two or three can actually pay dividends across many, many jobs, many evolutions of this process potentially. Are we afraid to look? Are we afraid to think that maybe there's another team or department in our current company that actually I might get a bump in pay if I went into? Now, again, I'm not trying to say we should think of our our hours, our dollars per hour as a way of thinking, but from some standpoint, that's where we are. So it's an easy way to evolve through that is to imagine what would it be like to make more dollars per hour? What would that work out to, per paycheck? And you're like, ooh, wow, that'd be actually a lot more money if I had $5 more an hour. Wow, that's fantastic, right? However, you get to that imagining belief area, like where you can see what your life would be like when you're trying to manifest an extra $5 an hour or an extra $50 an hour or an extra, maybe it's an extra $100 a job. Maybe it's an extra, $1,000 a job, like whatever, however your thing plays out, like that's how you bump it up. That's how you move forward. What if you're in a situation where you're trying to get a specific person back? And in order for that specific person, truly, and I think this actually happens a lot in life for us as souls. This is one example. I think there's other weird examples that happen. Well, what if you want to be with a person really badly? And in order to do that, that person kind of needs to date this other person for a couple weeks, maybe. Maybe they go out on 2 dates. And he tries something weird. He's kind of creepy, right? Like something happens in the date that's not like cool, like sets off. I've been on plenty of bad dates. Been my fault even plenty of times, right? Like been across that board. It's fine. It happens, and often But that being said, it's an experience that you will have that will change your thought process about dating other people. In fact, sometimes it might even make you think of the one that you used to be with. And in fact, such a way that it's like, man, I really miss them. See, a lot of us forget that contrast aspect. When someone's had no other experience, but maybe you, for example, sometimes a contrast is a good thing because it makes you look wonderful. It gives you extra complexity because now all of a sudden I've had this other experience sort of, and now I see you differently. It's altered my image of you in a drastic, life-changing way. Would it be worth it? Sometimes part of the path, part of the choice gets us to the end result without a doubt, but sometimes we have to walk through some mucky waters, maybe some manure in the field. Maybe there's some great parts, green pastures, lovely grass. Take your shoes off because the grass is so nice and soft and it smells so earthy and delicious. And sometimes it rains. It's part of it. It's part of the experience. And going through it and understanding there's something in this, like, am I, and if it's not, then it's just something that's happening. Like I've said before, I've done plenty of crazy things. I even said something stupid to someone the other day in a place I used to work. And I didn't mean it to come out the way it did, but like after I thought about it, I'm like, man, that didn't sound very nice. Like, sometimes you don't get a chance to hit that edit button that I get to take advantage of here in YouTube. But, I went to the person after and I'm like, what I said was really like, it's not what I meant. I'm really sorry, but it just did not come out very good. So I just wanted to apologize to you. And she was cool with it and it was all good and groovy and unnecessary for sure. But that's kind of where I'm at with things. And in all honesty, it helps. Like, I'm not going to do that again. I'm sure of it. Like, it's when you start to realize there's times where I'm not behaving to my best that I realize what I'm putting out there and what's coming back to me is not necessarily what I'm after, right? So what we focus on, sure, but also how we behave, how we're treating other people. What energy are you emanating out to the world is what's coming back to you. Emanating maybe in your tone and the way you talk, maybe emanating in the fact that you're so withdrawn, you don't talk to others at all. Look to see how things are being experienced. Look to see what you're asking for that you're essentially not wanting to do yourself. And that's why you're like, wow, I want them to just talk to me because there's no chance you'll ever talk to them because you're so shy. Well, that's probably the thing you really need to do from a soul level. That thing that you're trying to use law of attraction so you don't have to do this other thing, you should probably try the other thing. You'd probably be surprised unless it's like something, immoral or horrible or, I don't know, like, nothing crazy like that. But if it's like, talking to someone or maybe filling out an application, maybe doing something, so many people seem to fear that we don't do anything. And it's hard for things to happen without any doing. Some doing must exist. There is a yin yang in the world. There's a flow. It's very groovy that way. So to think it shouldn't be there, I think is not cool. To think it should be there all the time I don't think is cool. There's a nice balance of that. Sometimes you're going to do more. Sometimes you're going to, receive less. Sometimes the opposite. Let things kind of happen. Choices, they're out there. They're out there for us to make. They're out there for us to enjoy. They're also going to create experiences that mean stuff and help and are towards that. Again, we're evolving beings. We're not just like alive and trying to just make more money, make a boat, have a girlfriend like that. No, there's so much more to life than just trying to get Jenny back. No. Part of why Jenny and you aren't together right now is because you're not seeing this other aspect, how you've lost your identity, right? How you did everything for Jenny and you never did anything for you anymore. Or some other scenario for other people. Not sorry for you that I hit the nail right on the head, but true. I've done it before. Don't think I'm speaking from a vacuum on this one. My stepmom used to tell me that all the time. Took me a while to learn that one, but had a lot of fun. That all being said, I think these things really help. If we fear something in order for it to create, it's like that fear is part of this process. Like whatever that is, whatever's under the current, underneath, that's something that's going to bubble up. And it should. And you should be able to release it once it's come to the surface. Love it, embrace it, do affirmations for it, whatever has to be. But stuff's going to come up to the surface. That's part of the process of creating life-changing things. Life changes in order to have life-changing things happen. The evolution is part of that. It's not just you can have whatever you want. Yes, but there is a soul level to this. And I'm sorry if you don't agree with that, but for most of you, dude, it helps. I'm just saying, shh, don't tell anyone. It's the secret. I love that. That was a great name of a book, by the way. It's like, shh, don't tell anyone, but seriously, tell everybody. Like, really, we need book sales. Bad. All right, we're going out with a great song, by the way, I think, by Adele. It was funny how this song even came into my original world, but this is a great album. And the song's called Rumor Has It.